Hello, how's everybody doing? Really hope everyone's doing well. I've done a great deal of research here for us. A lot. I found some things, and then when I found them, I followed them up and made sure this wasn't garbage. So, I'm going to have a lot of information for you guys today. Now, one thing I wanted to say first, though, is really, some perps have a synthetic reality created for them just like us. They aren't aware of it, like, in the slightest, some of them, but they're totally not aware of the New World Order, all right, these filthy street perps. They have no idea. You know, these are the people that are told a bunch of lies and that they're protecting their community or whatever. It's a whole ego trip. So, really, yeah, you guys are supporting the New World Order and genocide. That's actually what this is at the base of it. That's not a synthetic reality. That's actually going on. And what do you think is going to happen to you? Really? Do you think that these people are going to protect you? This program / slavery is for everybody except for the Illuminati, except for the elite. They have briefs that they prepared on this that you can read if you can read. They have briefs freaking prepared on this, and it says it right there in black and white that this is for the elite. The New World Order is for the elite. Not you, street rat. So I'm going to get into the Skull and Bone Society. Yeah, so I picked this thing apart. The Skull and Bone Society, it is basically conditioning for the elite. It's how they brainwash them. Well, I'm sure they're born into Satanism and brainwashing, but then they really condition the best of the best at Yale. And I think it's like only 15 to 20 members get in, and you have to be in your senior year, and it's this club called the organization called the Skull and Bones Club. And like Kerry belonged to it, Bush, Rockefeller, everybody. And I'm gonna take that apart, and I'm gonna tell you all about it right now. And we're gonna talk about some other stuff too. So the initiation process of the Skull and Bones Society, just to give you an idea of what kind of society this is, aside from screaming and howling and screeching, they drink blood, they make you masturbate in front of the others, and then they put you in a coffin afterwards. Yeah, probably to symbolize your death as a mortal or the death of your soul because you just sold it to Satan. And that's not, I'm not exaggerating. This is how these people work. So when you bring in a coffin like that during a ceremony, that is representing something, like selling your soul. At least that's how they look at it. And, okay, so many people have been through this initiation process and have come out of the Skull and Bones Society. Bush. Okay, these are the oldest and richest families and the most influential families. Bush, Bundy, Aramon, Lord, Phelps, Rockefeller, Taft, Whitney. All right, these are the people. I'll get to that. So our most influential families who run things behind the puppets and Satan are Satanists, right? Actually, it's Satanists behind Satanists is what's happened now. So they come from a long line of them, too. I mean, I went way back into Bush's history, all these guys' history. Rockefeller, Taft, I picked this shit apart, and these guys are Satanists, generations and generations of Luciferians. So, yeah. Also, I wanted to say, I'm sure you've noticed mass shootings in our country, right? And people just, like, I'm sure it's TIs driven to the breaking point or mind-controlled. They're blaming it all on terrorists. But haven't you noticed that a lot of these people that are aligning with ISIS are they're like light-skinned, and they're even, some of them are even white people that are claiming allegiance to ISIS, or supposedly claiming allegiance. I think it's probably both, and this is why. The reason is because they've discovered America's plot, and they joined with ISIS to take America down. While I do not believe in terrorism or support it in any way, I can see why these guys are responding the way that they are over there, you know, even though it's not all them. And I can see why they are, in fact, trying to bring the government down. I think that I would choose a different tactic, but this is the kind of information that they don't share with us, and they just present these people as evil, when really it's our government that's evil. So what these terrorists are trying to do is bring down the New World Order, but they don't realize that they're doing exactly what the program is designed for them to do. Create internal warfare, world warfare. This stirs up a lot. This is exactly what the UN needs in order to make up issues and pretend like we need to have a World War III. So, and I just wanted to say again, you guys, don't be afraid. I know it's lonely and nobody believes us, but it's only for right now. Just focus on surviving, not trying to get people to believe us, like personal family members and friends. Like, express yourself, but don't come from a place of please believe me, because this is about our survival. We are way past anything else. So we're going to have to come together on a large level before anyone will take us seriously. And anybody in our families, probably. We need to plan this now. Send me comments, please, with ideas. And who cares if they hear us and see it? There's no way around that. We know that. Once we're together, we can communicate more discreetly, but we've got to come together, you guys. We've got to come together. Somehow. Let's come up with some ways of doing that. Let's get a conversation going about that in our comments. Okay, back into the deep research. Alright, so we talked about the Skull and Bones Society, and now, okay, remember a couple of videos I shared that Rockefeller came out with a statement thanking the press for 60 years of silence, and without this, the world order wouldn't be possible. Well, this is why. All right, and I dug deep and checked it all out, you guys. In 1917, Representative Oscar Calloway hired 12 ranking news managers. They were asked to determine the most influential newspapers in America. They were to figure out how many newspaper organizations it would take to control generally the policy of the daily press of the United States. The 12 found that it was only necessary to purchase the control of 25 of the greatest papers. An agreement was reached with those papers. And a lot of the heads of these papers are also from the Skull and Bones Society, too, by the way. So, they came to an agreement, all right? And the policy of these papers was brought, and an editor was placed at each paper to ensure that all published information was in keeping, you know, with their freaking new policy, okay? And so... And policy is like what you can and can't report on. Okay? Then that policy was defined, by a front J.P. Morgan and his colleagues. All right? Warburg and Rockefeller. So you've got Morgan, Warburg, and Rockefeller. Morgan's personal attorney was made founding president. How appropriate is that? His personal attorney. Well, of course he was the founding president. Okay. Well, where's my other page here? Yeah, made him founding president, the attorney. I just thought that was great. All right. So the CFR, the Council of Foreign Relations. What they say that their job is, quote, is to create awareness in the world, amongst the world. But what their real idea is to seek control of the world. Okay, these guys are so corrupt, you guys. They are so corrupt. This is essentially a makeup of the elite. And I'm going to break it down for you here. Okay, the CFR, the Council of Foreign Relations, is made up of the elite. High institutions, tax-exempt foundations, and the media. Richard Howard declared CFR as the #1 ruling establishment in the United States. He even boasted in the newspaper article that, excuse me, sorry guys. He boasted in the newspaper article that they don't analyze and interpret foreign policy for the United States, but they help make it happen. They don't hide this shit. They even print it, for crying out loud. But nobody pays attention. And when you do, everyone's like, show me proof, show me proof, show me proof. And it's like, but okay, but you don't look at all this proof. I mean, this is just a little itty bitty tiny piece. We could come up with some very, very current proof. But that's not what they want. They want to see these people harassing you in real time. And until they do, they're just, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult. That's what they want to see. And it's really too bad because we're trying to help them and they're trying to help us. But at the same time, it's causing us to butt heads. And it's just an icky place to be. So it's nice to take a stand back and look at the big picture, regroup, look to yourself, and then come back together so that you're not creating those icky feelings. But I know it's hard, you guys. I know. All right? I lost it today. So, right there with you. Okay, now, for the CFR, right, and for the press. Who are these policy makers for the press in our media today? So basically, who can say what we can and can't print, you know, all right? Tom Brokaw, right, who was supposedly sent anthrax for calling an investigation into 9/11. Well, he's CFR policy all right. Dan Rather, Barbara Walters, Jim Lehrer, William F. Buckley, Rupert Murdoch. These are who make our media policy, and they all belong to the CFR. So you see the amount of control that these elites have in all of the information and censorship, and they want more. A great deal more. So it also is made up of power corporations like Disney, AOL, Time Warner, right? So it's just a handful of members running things. I mean, it's just a handful of members running the entire country and essentially the world, and has been for a time. Okay, so what? Well, the thing about that, right? Okay, so what? These guys are for New World Order and martial law. And more than that, they support a foundation that practices, well, and a lot of people in that foundation, practice Satanism and Luciferianism. And there's proof of that. There's no getting around that. See, you guys, this is the kind of shit we need to be talking about in gang stalking. And we need to bring it on a layman's terms level. We need to study it and regurgitate it in a way that you and I get it and other people can get it. And that's what needs to be done. We need to talk about the proof and the documentation of this censorship. You can't just say, oh, because all my stuff is censored. You have to tell them why and go into it. Otherwise, and a lot of times that's not even enough for them, right? It's just not. That, like I said, they want to see somebody harassing you with their own eyes. And when you explain about maybe covert signs of aggression, it just goes right over their head. And it's going to, because they're not sensitized to it. How many years have we been in this program? We're not going to be able to sensitize somebody with just a conversation. And I mean, I got really frustrated today, but every once in a while, it is good to do that. It is. You've got to let things out, and I'm lucky enough to have support in my life. But at the end of the day, it's you and me who understand what's going on, and nobody else. And we've got to come together. And we just have to have a conversation about it. I don't see any conversations going on about this, you guys. Not on our channel, not on other channels. I hear conversations about going to your city council. I've picked that apart. Okay, that's great for an independent TI. But what about coming together? What about coming together and protesting this? A peace protest of some kind. Start small. If we start with a small community of TIs, other TIs are going to see that, and we are going to grow. It just has to take some balls and be willing to sacrifice a great deal for this. We can't sit around in our homes waiting for somebody in the government to notice this or pick up on this and do something. We can't sit around waiting for neighbors and family members and friends to maybe notice one day. It's going to be too late. We have to face the fear. And we have got to talk about these details and what it would look like if we came together. And I know we're all afraid of perps showing up. We're gonna get that. But together, a few of us together, we can root some mofos out. And we will be so much stronger. We've just got to get through the battle of having that conversation where they all can see. And then we have to get through the battle of actually meeting up. And then from there, we are going to be so empowered, and our community. And a fight is still going to continue after that. But it can never be initiated unless we do it.